Today on the big match, Chelsea face stars like Denis Law, like George Best, and like Bobby Charlton. And proof today in the continued boom in football. Our two games between them attracted 115,000 spectators, 61,000 of them crammed into Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against Manchester United.
Trying to play a 1-2 with Law. Best up with his head. Oh, just over.
54,000 saw Liverpool against Everton.
To break through. Kenyon in two minds.
Analysis today from Jimmy Hill, and today also the final 6 goals in our Golden Goals competition. It's your time now to pick the right order. But first, let's get on with the action. Chelsea against Manchester United in a match that could be a rehearsal for next month's cup final if United beat Leeds in a replay at Villa Park tomorrow. Chelsea, of course, are already there, but here they're without fullback Eddie McCready, and Marvin Hinton, that faithful and experienced reserve, comes into a reshuffled defence. But the good news for all Chelsea fans is that back in the attack after a bad chill, Peter Osgood, top scorer with 26 goals. So he faces a Manchester United side with plenty on its mind. Now without Tony Dunn and David Sadler in defence and Brian Kidd in the attack. There's another game for Denis Law, who played so well in midweek against Burnley. But perhaps the most pleasing sight is the return for Manchester United of Nobby Stiles, bedevilled by a bad knee injury for so long this season. So now Chelsea's biggest crowd of the season waits for referee Maurice Fussy of Nottinghamshire.
So Manchester United in red shirts and white shorts, Chelsea in all blue, get us away. And it doesn't matter whether United are doing well or badly, it just seems that everybody wants to see them. The gates closed here 45 minutes before the kickoff. And they were queuing at 9 o'clock this morning, a queue of 100 yards outside the ground as early as that. And United at the moment, of course, doing well. Unbeaten in their last 18 games. In fact, their last defeat was by Chelsea, 2-0, up at Old Trafford in December. Peter Bonetti. Satori. And a little lucky to get that one. Now it's Crerand. Stiles. Willie Morgan. Oh, and Webb rather committed himself. Best! Just over. Ghosting in there from outside the penalty area. After Morgan had done well to deceive Webb. Best really on that like a flash. And Bonetti, no doubt, very relieved to see that go across the top of the bar. That's our view from behind the goal, and every vantage point here at Stamford Bridge is a good one this afternoon. John Hollins to Peter Houseman. And now it's Webb. And Ure. John Hollins. Osgood, can he get the better of Ure? Hinton offside. Marvin Hinton, who's come into the side because Eddie McCready is out. But he's one of these good reserves that Chelsea have got in store. Marvin Hinton. Hudson. Cook. And now Hollins. Danger of taking that out of play, but the linesman has kept his flag down. And here's Osgood, and here's Hutchinson, and it's a goal by Ian Hutchinson. 14 minutes gone, and it's Hutchinson who puts Chelsea ahead. United might well. Here's Hutchinson, who scored 2, remember, up at Old Trafford, and now he's got the one that puts Chelsea ahead here. United may well have relaxed just a little bit, feeling that Hollins was going to take the ball out of play, and while they relaxed, Chelsea struck. So now it's Best to Edwards. Morgan. Sartori. Well, it had to be a very good shot to beat Bonetti from that sort of range. Hutchinson beating Ure, and Osgood on the chase, and that was a touch of the old styles, keeping his head and keeping possession. That's the hallmark of Nobby styles. But a long throw now coming up from Ian Hutchinson. So many red shirts back in that penalty area, they obviously know what to expect. Stepney going for it, Dempsey right up, and Stepney forced to give away the corner. Webb and Dempsey, of course, number 5 and the number 2 for Chelsea, right up. Well, the hot dogs, they're not selling too many of those at the moment. They're too busy watching this. Hollins to pump it back, and he looks as though he must be offside, but there's no whistle. And United are very angry with the referee over that one. They felt that Hutchinson looked clearly offside, but the referee was saying that Sartori was right back on the line, and he was. Just a little bit disorganised for the moment there, Manchester United, and it's another corner then for Chelsea. Again, it's Peter Houseman to take it. Very well taken by Alex Stepney under a good deal of pressure. Ronnie Harris to Peter Houseman. Hutchinson to Osgood, a nice little dummy there from Hutchinson. And now to Cook, and a good ball to him, and he can't keep it in. Francis Burns then with the throw for Manchester United. Ure running well. That was a good piece of play by Ian Ure. Leaving it for Law, and Ure's going on. Still Law. Oh, and he didn't cut it back far enough for Ure. So Hudson. Oh, to Hollins, and a good piece of work by him. Just over! That was a brilliant counter-attack by Chelsea. With Ure out of that defence, it left a gap, and Hollins seized on it. So a goal kick to Manchester United. Alex Stepney. Cook. And Hutchinson closely watched by Styles. Now Law. Looking for Sartori and finding him. And Osgood challenging Charlton and beating him, and Styles. So now it's Hudson. Hollins has gone through again. Ian Ure. Law. Ure. Well, there's going to be a lot of work for men like Ian Ure. From Peter Osgood particularly, I would think, the way this Chelsea attack is forming. But now it's Nobby Styles. Straight to Mr. Fussy, but Law to pick it up. Edwards had gone on, and Law planted it behind him. Harris with the throw. Oh, and a good piece of work here by Houseman. Hutchinson closing in. This is aimed towards Hutchinson, and a fine goal by Ian Hutchinson. 2-0, and Hutchinson's second in the game. A brilliant piece of work though by Houseman, a fine run, and one of those beautiful little chips towards the near post, which is so much a part of his play now, and Hutchinson bravely low and diving to get it. And now it really is up to men like George Best. But Chelsea at the moment look irresistible. Here's Cook with Houseman outside him. And again, Hutchinson looking for it, and this time Burns was covering. So Chelsea beautifully contained for the first 10 minutes or so by Manchester United, scoring 2 goals in a matter of 6 minutes to go, 2 up. Hinton. Paul Edwards to Ian Ure. And now Creran, but straight to Hollins. And now to Osgood. Cook. Hudson's gone streaking into a gap on the right. Ron Harris. Aim towards Hutchinson, who gets ahead to it. He's getting above that United defence far too often for United's comfort. Now Willie Morgan. And in goes Dempsey. Nobby Stiles. Oh. Knocked to the ground by Hudson. Play on, says the referee though. And so it's Creran. Charlton. And Law. And Best. With Osgood getting a foot behind him. Morgan. Edwards. Oh, to Best. Best! Streaking through again, and it was only Peter Bonetti's boot that stopped him. Edwards. Best. Sartori. And Best again. Looks as though he's determined to take things into his own hand. He really wanted that ball. Burns. Played in towards Charlton, but Hollins was going with him. And now Hollins sending Cook away. Stiles is covering. And Burns. Still Cook. And a long one that finds Houseman. And Houseman the chipper. Hollins putting it back. Oh, what's that goal? With that United defence nowhere. From Hollins. Webb, but straight to Bobby Charlton. He's not having the best of days at the moment, David Webb. Pat Creran. Law. Tempted to put it towards Sartori, then turns back towards the goal. Best. And the whistle had gone. What superb acceleration though by this fella. From a position of no danger, suddenly he's streaking through that Chelsea defence, and there's every danger. So Peter Bonetti, a World Cup goalkeeper at both ends today. Hutchinson losing it to Sartori. And a little flick there, and Dempsey well back and doing a good job there for Chelsea. But Sartori again. Best in with his head, and Law just failing to push it home. Claiming that his shirt was tugged, I think, by a Chelsea defender. So now it's Hudson for Chelsea. The game really swaying brilliantly from one end to the other. Hollins, so much skill out there this afternoon. Hollins ill for Chelsea. Again, Hutchinson beating everybody in the air. But for Manchester United. Sartori, harassed by Osgood. Webb, Houseman chasing it, Styles with him, and Stepney on the dive. Bobby Styles giving the linesman a fair bit of stick for not blowing up, well, he's putting his flag up for an infringement by Houseman. Law. Sartori. Oh, and Hinton very bravely there where the feet was going high again. Osgood. Hinton. And Osgood. And Styles to cover again, and Burns and Osgood getting stuck in on the floor. The referee allowing it to go on. Alan Hudson. John Hollins. Bobby Charlton really having a go, I think, at the referee for not pulling up those two men who were brawling on the floor. Law looks suspiciously those using his hands. Morgan closing in on it, and Bonetti out very quickly. Morgan almost through there, and Bonetti coming out very quickly and efficiently from his goal. Edwards finally shaking off Houseman. Law, but it's very crowded there, and Dempsey back to Bonetti. And in fact, it's a free kick to Manchester United. Ian Hutchinson here. I think a lot of people in the crowd thought that was the half-time whistle. It was a pretty firm blast by the referee. But it's Ure with a free kick for Manchester United. And Webb making his presence felt in that Chelsea defence, getting above Law. Now it's Peter Houseman. And that is the whistle for half-time, with Chelsea 2 goals into the lead, both scored by number 10 Ian Hutchinson after 14 minutes and after 20 minutes. Still to come on the big match programme, highlights of the big Merseyside battle, Liverpool against Everton, and the final 6 of our Golden Goals competition. But the half-time score at Stamford Bridge is Chelsea 2, Manchester United 0. More soccer action for you in just a couple of minutes. But Chelsea beaten only once at Stamford Bridge this season, handsomely placed with this 2-goal lead at half-time. It's Bobby Charlton looking a little bit worried, and I'm not surprised. John Hollins now for Chelsea. Ure and Osgood. Sartori to Law. And now Bobby Charlton. Pat Crerand, Law, Sartori. But losing it out to Hudson, and now it's Cook. Best. And now Crerand, a surprising amount of space there. Law calling for it in the centre. And Bobby Charlton almost with his head. going there towards the near post, and it's not often that Bob gets in with his head. Looks as if it almost stunned him a little bit as well. But he took Chelsea a little bit by surprise there, couldn't quite screw it back enough. Webb, Houseman, Charlton again. Get the feeling that Bobby Charlton is beginning to assert himself a little bit. But it's Creran with the throw. Law making, Ewer making another good break, finding Sartori. And blocked by Dempsey. Harris to Hutchinson. Sartori to Best. United hopes rise every time Best gets the ball, but now it's Sartori in space. A nice little clip from him, and Best going in. Dempsey miskicking. Morgan trying to turn it back, and Webb getting it away. Still in play. Houseman setting Hollins free. In turn, it's Hudson away. Osgood. Hudson. David Webb. Styles trying physically to get in, but Hutchinson getting there first. Now it's Hudson playing a 1-2 there. Oh, and almost put there through his own goal by Burns. A brilliant break by Chelsea. And Morgan's determination taking him past Hollins to Bobby Charlton. Aim towards Dennis Law, and again it's Dempsey who wins that battle when it mattered most. Charlie Cook. Harris. Cook again. Chelsea coolly spraying this ball around. Still in play. Hudson. Flicked on for Houseman. And United's throw. And Francis Burns. Sartori. Best. Setting a dummy on Harris, but Harris is still doing a shadowing job there. Best. Law. Turning it nicely now for Edwards. Can he chip it back? He can. Morgan trying to get under it. And really, Morgan should have had that one. Here's Best, who did some good work in that build-up. And now perhaps this is the chance for Chelsea to break. Cook closing in. And a beautiful ball there to Houseman. He's got Hudson in the middle. Cook coming up as well. That was aimed towards Cook and very coolly cut out by Ewer. Sartori finding Best. Sartori to Bobby Charlton. And again Dempsey very coolly. Peter Houseman to Hutchinson. All on his own. No support at all. And that's so unlike Chelsea. Hutchinson was really out there on his own. The ball played badly by Burns for Creran, allowing Chelsea to take possession again. Hudson to Dempsey. Hinton. The reserve rather, now in the side. Hinton, who really hasn't put a foot wrong. Houseman to Hollins. Osgood in the middle, the low one, and almost put through into his own goal by Nobby Styles, who was very angry indeed with the pressure that was put on him. Well, he may have lost a little bit of his form and his vigour over the months, but he certainly hasn't lost his voice. Here's the corner. Hit away by Sartori. That was creeping in by the near post. Harris playing it sensibly wide to Hudson again. Hudson. He's taking on a little too much, and it's Bobby Charlton who gets it away. Really needed to be pumped back much quicker than that by Alan Hudson. Here he is again, Hudson. Sartori to Stepney. Foul given against Dempsey, holding Law down. Charlton, Law flicking it on, Styles right through. That was a very good break indeed by Manchester United. Now Cook. Ure. Foul given against Houseman, hustling Ure unfairly. Webb, Cook. And Hudson to Osgood, who gets above Ure, flicks it on, and now it's Cook with Houseman outside him. Here's Houseman. Perhaps another of those little clip ones because Hutchinson's waiting in the middle. A deeper one, and Stepney under great pressure. Hutchinson! A goal is given, and it's a hat-trick for Hutchinson. No, he disallowed it. He disallowed it. He disallowed it, and so it's United breathing away and coming away through Crerand. Best, Sartori. Law waiting at the far side, and again it's Dempsey. Charlton, Best well in, up with his head, Morgan, and Benetti away with his fist. And Benetti's taken a bit of punishment too. And Hinton, very properly, from Chelsea's point of view, putting it into touch. That's a Stepney eye view of it. So Benetti fit to go on. Sartori. And now Edwards. Sartori again, Law in the middle, he played it first time for Law, Charlton was closing in on it as well, but it's Cook for Chelsea. Harris to Osgood. Burns finding Crerand. That's aimed towards Law, and Benetti's lost it, the best! Morgan, a goal! By Willie Morgan. Stepney, no doubt, very relieved about that, and certainly that puts United right back in the game, as you see, with just a quarter of an hour now to go. Wondering just how much Benetti was still suffering from that dig in the ribs, but whatever it was, it really puts United back in it again now. Morgan, Sartori. Benetti, in fact, stopped one of the shots, but he couldn't stop the second one, and he's obviously still in a bit of pain there. Certainly that must have given fresh hope to the thousands of Manchester United supporters from all over the country who flocked to Stamford Bridge this afternoon. John Hollins with a throw for Chelsea. And surely Hutchinson there was pulled back by Edwards. Going up to take a position in that penalty area. Hollins, who really thumps a long free kick. And there's another long one from Hollins. Osgood trying to get underneath, and in fact using his hands, and Dempsey puts it into the net, but there's no question of that. But Osgood used his hand to flick that on for Dempsey. That's the shed. Well, Osgood all right again, and a free kick to Manchester United. Sartori, and now Hollins. Chelsea for the moment have lost the verve that put them 2 up in 20 minutes, and United must be sensing now that perhaps not everything is lost after all. Sartori, and Edwards sticking out a long foot but not quite getting it through to Bobby Charlton, but now it is with Charlton. Farron, back to Stepney. Law, he tried to turn it to Best, but he said it was Harris. Farron, flicked nicely there for George Best. Still Best, past Harris, past Osgood, and now it's Osgood. Cook, beautiful play by Chelsea. Hudson now on the left. Cook, playing a nice 1-2 there with Hudson. The linesman flag is up. The linesman's flag is up. Disallowed. It's the third time in the second half that Chelsea have had that ball in the net. All of them disallowed. And in fairness to the linesman there, his flag was up long before that ball was planted home. So it's Best for Manchester United, a poor ball from him. And Hollins bringing it away for Chelsea. Oh, straight to Sartori. William Morgan. Hollins. Hutchinson losing it there, and it's Morgan again. Dempsey finding Osgood at last with a bit of space. Hudson outside him, and here's Houseman on his right. And it was out of play, and Houseman has only himself to blame. Ure. Charlton flicking that on nicely for Farron, but he couldn't quite get up to it. Charlton in fact took a fair tumble there as well. Hinton back for Chelsea, and the free kick given in fact when Bobby Charlton was set crashing. It's going to be Ian Ure to take it. Law wanting it in the air. Charlton to flick it on. Harris. And Webb only putting it as far as Best. Hutchinson getting his head to it. Farron to Styles. Every man bar Stepney now in the Chelsea half of the field. Law going up. Sartori fastening on very quickly. And flicked away into touch by Harris. Chelsea under a good deal of pressure now. United coming storming back. Edwards with the throw. Hutchinson, and now Cook. And now Hudson on the break. To Cook. Cook going past Morgan as though he didn't exist. Played inside there for Hudson, and Burns, Chelsea claiming that he handled it. Bobby Charlton. Barron. Nice in the build-up here by United to Burns. Best. Trying to play a 1-2 with Law. Best! On with his head! Oh, just over! Beautiful build-up there by Manchester United, and superb skills in the end by Best. But he couldn't keep it down. Hutchinson. And the ball is out of play. Hutchinson, in fact, going to try a longish throw. No, in fact, he tries a shorter one. Houseman to Hudson. Hollins flicking it in, or trying to flick it for Hollins as the final whistle goes. Ian Hutchinson, who scored both those Chelsea goals in the first 20 minutes of the game, and Willie Morgan, who pulled one back for Manchester United with 15 minutes to go. And so the final score here at Stamford Bridge is Chelsea 2, Manchester United 1.
So a very good win indeed there by Chelsea, and the last words to me from manager Dave Sexton last night was that although a lot of people have written us off, he said, we still feel we have a very good chance of winning the championship. We want to be in there at the death and hope that somebody above us loses their nerve. Now, of course, Chelsea play Sheffield Wednesday at home on Wednesday and away to Everton in a really crucial match next Saturday. If they can win those two, then my goodness, they are in with a chance. Now, what about Manchester United in their cup replay against Leeds tomorrow night? In terms of injuries, Ian Ure had a slight ankle strain, and the young fullback Paul Edwards had a slight stomach strain, but Wilf McGuinness said that both of them should be fit for tomorrow night. Now, Jimmy Hill, if in fact this turns out to be a rehearsal for the cup final next month, Chelsea against Manchester United. Chelsea have beaten United twice this season. Would you see them doing it a third time at Wembley?
I don't see any reason why they shouldn't after yesterday, because although I've tipped Chelsea for the cup, I'm bound to go with them. But I thought their performance yesterday was very good. They really went out for it from the start. They got the goals. They showed the ability that they have to score goals against any kind of numbers in defence. And I thought it was a very impressive performance. There was a sort of lapse in the game where they turned off for a period and enabled Manchester United to come back. But they recovered themselves at the end and were still in there pitching. And those disallowed goals, if we'd had one of those in, of course it would have been a more conclusive result.
And of course, if Chelsea can play for 90 minutes at Wembley, as they did for the first 20 minutes yesterday, there really would be no doubt.
No doubt at all. Mind you, I think Manchester United could be a little bit better. With Nobby Stiles, who came back, nice to see him on the field again, but he was at a disadvantage in the air against Osgood or Hutchinson, whichever he had to take. There's no question about that. And David Sadler will strengthen up that department.
Let's start looking at some of these goals. And our slow motion machinery, having had so much work with goals on the big match in the last few weeks, has got on the blinks again, so we've got to look at them in normal speed. The first goal, Jim, first of all.
Well, this was an example, I think, of Chelsea's superiority in the air, and where Manchester United, for me, at times do struggle. And it was also dear old Nobby Stiles appealing for whether the ball was out of play and just sort of losing concentration for a moment. And we can decide now, I think, whether in fact Nobby was right, whether the ball was out of play as Hollins broke forward. It shows a lovely pass from Hudson out there, and Hollins makes his break, goes down the wing as that ball's laid. Clever bit of control along the line, but you have to decide whether the ball does go out or not. Nobby Stiles obviously thought it did. Now as the ball comes over, there's Peter Osgood laying it, nobody getting that high ball into Hutchinson, and nobody has jumped in the air and cleared that high ball away.
Hollins did some tremendous work yesterday, always coming forward, and I think he found better positions than I've ever seen him this season yesterday.
Yeah, he's it's surprising in some ways why he doesn't get any chance, or seem to get any chance, to be a contender for Mexico. I know the Chelsea lads think he's a tremendous asset in the side, and he just seems to be able to run all day and all night.
What about Nobby Stiles?
Well, it was like Nobby, everybody loves him or hates him, and I think there was no difference yesterday. He hasn't changed at all. He might have lost a little bit of gristle from his knee, but he's still the same old Nobby Stiles. He was arguing and moaning and pushing people about, winning the ball, full of enthusiasm. It was typically Nobby. But in fact, I think he was at a disadvantage for the second goal. This again, Hutchinson got on the near post, and I think Nobby had no chance because of his height, although Hutchinson does bend down for the ball. But here was an example, I think, of where United stars hesitated for a moment, Best and Law, and I think this cost them the goal. There's Dennis Law, there's the fullback gone down the line, number 2, and George Best is between the ball and his own goal. Now there's Peter Houseman. Can you see him running there through the pitch, who's twigged this? Best wakes up too late that he's in the fullback's position, and from then on it's a typical marvellous Chelsea near post goal with Nobby struggling to get there and head it away.
Of course, West Ham fans would say they'd copied that from them, wouldn't they, the near post?
Well, they have.
But Houseman is really working it well for them, isn't he? Beautifully.
I wish England would copy for them here and there, because playing against packed defences, it's so useful. Nobody can stop that kind of goal. Even if a defender is there and you win your way to the ball first, nobody can stop you getting a crack at the goal.
But United, even though they're in trouble, are tremendous fighters, and they really inched their way back into this game.
Yeah, I could see yesterday why they had gone 18 games, I think it is, without defeat, because there is more to the side now. I think Paddy Crerand, without any doubt, has steadied the side down. He's been back in it, and since that time they've done awfully well. And I think Ian Ewer is doing the job that I thought he would do for Arsenal. Here, Paddy Crerand actually does a Hollins and slips into this position on the wing. As it comes over, you can wonder whether Peter Bonetti was fouled there by Dennis Law, who jumps well. There's the first shot blocked, and it's an easy thing for Morgan to turn it into the net. But that was a Dennis Law jump against Bonetti. And it's strangely enough afterwards a Hutchinson goal was disallowed for the same reason. Jumping for the ball up against the goalkeeper, it's very difficult to decide the sort of shades of who is right and who is wrong when that happens. But there was one example there of a goalkeeper dropping a ball and the play being allowed to go on, and there's another one which we see in a moment of Stepney dropping a ball from a Hutchinson jump, and the referee's got a very difficult job to decide in a flurry whether the man is pushing or whether he is going for the ball without any doubt.
Let's have a look at these Chelsea disallowed goals then, Jim.
Yes,
the first one in the second half.
The first one is this Hutchinson one, which is coming up now. A nice move. Osgood wins that ball in the air very well, very usefully, and Charlie Cook picks it up, lays it out nicely to Peter Houseman. They're so dangerous, those crosses from his left foot. Here it comes, right up in the air. Now watch Hutchinson. What one has to decide is whether he actually went for that ball or whether in fact he went in to impede the goalkeeper. The referee on that issue said he impeded the goalkeeper, so that was the first of Chelsea's disallowed goals.
And the second one?
Well, this was, I think, an obvious handball, one that everybody spotted, and except the Chelsea supporters with the blindest of faith in the club and the referee. It was from a free kick, and Peter Osgood, quite clearly, as we can see here.
What do you feel about this, Jim? What do you feel about players who do this sort of thing?
Well, you always tell them not to do it because it stops the game. Here's Osgood going up here. There's the hand in the air, and of course Dempsey hammers it into the back of the net there without any real thought that he'd got to go.
If you were Chelsea manager, what would you say to Peter Osgood after a thing like that?
Well, I know what I used to say to George Hudson, who was a Coventry player who used to do this. He used to use his hand sometimes from across to poke them in, and I used to say, look, this is ridiculous. You're stopping the game, the ball is still there, except one day he scored a goal with it and it was allowed, and he turned around to me and said, what about that?
What about the third one then? Because there was a slight doubt about that one.
Yeah, I thought that was the tightest decision of all of them, and yesterday afterwards, thinking it over, I thought Hudson was offside. I only wish we had our slow motion machinery working again today to look at it, because I have looked at it and we're going to see it again now, and what emerges from it is that Ian Ewer moves up quickly, and you only just see it as a flash across the screen, to try and play him offside, and I'm wondering whether he's moved up quickly enough. It was a lovely Chelsea move. Let's have a look and see if you can assess it, but I warn you, Ian Ewer comes in very quickly. There's Charlie Cook there playing it out to Hudson, and they do a 1-2, but Charlie doesn't play it first time. He holds it and then lays it. Now on the right of your screen, did you see Ewer flash into the picture there and try and play him offside? And it's so unlucky. Alan Hudson, he will score goals, but at the moment, whenever he gets a goal, somebody disallows it for some reason or other.
And he had a brilliant one disallowed at Old Trafford, in fact, against Manchester United earlier this season.
For no reason particularly.
Exactly. Well, we'll have to have a good look at that in fact next week, Jim, in the big match. That's a promise. But now we turn to our next action today, which in fact takes us to the big Merseyside match between Liverpool and the league leaders, Everton, leading by 3 points, remember. Everton here are the team in the blue shirts with the white shorts. Your commentator up there is Gerald Sinstadt, and the pictures come from Granada Television.
Jeff Strong
So we've been playing 10 minutes, no score. First ball. A good break across field here by Kendall to Harvey to Morrissey. Royal and ball at the back of the box. Whittle in the middle. There's Royal again. It's there! Joe Royal! Ten and a half minutes gone, and Everton score the goal that they have been threatening to score ever since this match began.
And Everton keep up that pressure in the second half.
Yates and Strong, Royal in pursuit. Kenyon did well to resist Callaghan's challenge. Ball beaten by Smith. Smith with a big gap to break through. Kenyon in two minds. Fine job there by Hurst. Callaghan was clear through the gap. Ball. And he gets a free kick. Brown. Royal looking for it and finding it. Ball. Harvey. Whittle!
So a great 2-0 win for Everton that keeps them 3 points clear at the top, which puts great pressure, of course, on Leeds United, yes, and on Chelsea as well. So well done, Everton. Now it's our Golden Goals competition of 1970. You may remember that last week we showed you what we considered, or at least what you considered as well, the 12 best goals that you've seen on the Big Match programme over this last season. Well, this last week the Golden Goals panel have been sitting. We've whittled that down to 6 goals that we've seen ourselves with our own eyes, and also we've been influenced by the postcards that we've had nominating goals, because we want the final 6 to be goals that you enjoy watching as well. Now it's your turn to vote. And in fact, the coupon for these 6 goals will appear in the next edition of the TV Times, which comes out next Thursday. So make sure you get your copy. Decide today which you feel is the order of preference for these goals, which is the best, which is the second best, and so on, and fill it in the coupon next Thursday. If you still haven't made up your mind, we shall show you these 6 goals again next Sunday, and then, of course, you must make up your mind and have those coupons in very quickly to us the following week. And we will only accept entries, of course, on coupons that come from the TV Times. So your turn to vote. Our turn to give you the action. So here come the final 6, and goal number 1 is by John Samuels for Arsenal against Manchester United.
Aston, and now caught for Arsenal. Rice in now for Samuels. Still Samuels, and he's got a bang on him! Oh, magnificent goal! John Samuels! His first goal of the season!
Finalist number 2 is Peter Osgood for Chelsea against West Bromwich Albion.
Eddie McCready. Collins. To Cook. Taking on Cantello, attacking him as he ought to. And Osgood in! A great goal by Osgood! What a fine header by Osgood!
Goal number 3, another Arsenal goal by George Graham against Crystal Palace.
Radford going in again. And again. And now George Graham. A little 1-2, a chance for Graham. Oh, a magnificent goal by Graham. What a superb goal by Graham.
Goal number 4 by Jimmy Greaves, then with Spurs against Derby County.
Perhaps Pearce will be aiming for him. Wignall right back with him. That's what England wants. And he's not going to get it. Kinnear back to Pearce again. Low and half, Greaves! Oh, what a goal by Greaves!
Number 5 in our final 6 comes from Barry Endine of Watford. This one was against Leicester City.
The crowd so solidly behind them. And Garvett going in, and indeed a goal! Oh, a beautiful goal! 2 goals in a minute!
And last of the finalists, number 6, Roger Hoy for Crystal Palace, a header against Chelsea.
Hudson. A really strong tackle there by Payne. Loughlin, Hine playing it off for Loughlin. And the ball falling nicely behind. And there's Hoy! Oh, a great goal! Roger Hoy!
So that then is our final 6, and now it's up to you to vote which is best, which is second best, third best, and so on. Let me just give you a countdown again. Goal number 1 was John Samuels, goal number 2 Peter Osgood, goal number 3 George Graham, number 4 Jimmy Greaves, number 5 Barry Endine, number 6 is Roger Hoy. You put them in the right order by filling in the coupon that you'll find in the TV Times this coming week. We'll show you those 6 goals again next Sunday, then you really must decide, and then we'll sort out the winner, and there'll be a prize for him as well, of course. That's all from the big match today. Hope very much that you've enjoyed it. As usual, we leave you with a bit of action, and for that we go back to Stamford Bridge yesterday. The second goal, the killer goal for Chelsea, scored by Ian Hutchinson from this cross by Peter Houseman.
A good piece of work here by Houseman. Hutchinson closing in. This is aimed towards Hutchinson, and a fine goal by Ian Hutchinson.